This is the Sales Babel Podcast, episode 315, Don't Use Zoom for Prospecting, an interview with returning guest, Neil Kristianson.
Welcome to Sales Babel, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
I never hit the record button.
I thought you just recorded the F word.
I would never do that on Sales Babel.
Hey, do we have to start over, Pat? We
do.
I didn't know that you had to do that, or I would have said something. I just thought it was recording the whole time.
No. You have to start the recording button.
I see that now. I see little waveforms coming up. Take two. Yeah. I'm glad you're the professional.
I caught the problem. At least Welcome, Neil. Are you ready to babble? Or I should say, welcome back, Neil. Are you ready to babble?
I am ready to re-babble, Pat. Yes.
You are ready to re-babble. This is our second try at this, isn't it?
I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus like that, but yeah, it is our second try.
You know, I have one job, to hit the record button.
One job.
I can't even do that. Here it is. So happy to have you back here on the podcast.
Thank you.
Seems like you were just here a couple months ago.
Yeah, at the end of my annual trek to the Sales Babel headquarters to record our tools episode. Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Which, by the way, people love. You just got complimented on that on Monday. I was talking to a Sales Babel listener, and they were saying, "Well, that's one of my favorite episodes. Is the tool."
Nice. That is good. Well, today we are not only are we not at Sales Babel headquarters. I don't even have a beer. This feels so wrong.
Neither do I.
Yeah, we should have planned better for this.
Well, it's noon.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped us before, has it?
No, it hasn't. But these are trying times.
Right.
We're in a difficult situation here because I'm sequestered and I can't leave the barn. I can't leave the Sales Babel studio. And same's true for you, right?
Right. Even though we are only 5 miles apart, we are recording this via the interwebs with the help of technology. It's the first time I have never sat in the studio to record an episode with you, with all the episodes we've done together.
There's a first for everything. And I think that's the theme, I think, of this week's episode, is that given the situation where we're doing more remote selling, you and I we're chatting about it on Tuesday, I think it was, and you started ranting, and I immediately piled on and started ranting too, because you and I were in violent agreement of like what's going wrong these days with sales.
Yes, and it's so unusual for you and I to rant. But there we go. We went ranting away, and yeah, we were definitely on the same soapbox for sure.
I was on we do the Thursday Telebabel Sales Babel conference calls, and I was asked last week or the week before, well, why don't we do a Zoom call?
Yeah. The Zoom, the dreaded Zoom. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love Zoom, right? Because I'm on Zoom. I've had a paid Zoom account for years. I am on Zoom literally 3 or 4 hours a day with my clients, with my virtual employees. I use Zoom all the time, but there is a place for Zoom, and you and I were in complete agreement that the place for Zoom is not in cold calling prospects and initial sales calls.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like those.
I'm a fan of Zoom, but I think this is exactly the wrong tool to be prospecting with people. How come?
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Well, there's a few reasons. I'll start with reason number one. So as I'm a salesperson and I'm on a call with a prospect, if I'm on a Zoom call, which I really try to avoid, but if I get stuck on a Zoom call with a prospect, like maybe they're overseas and a phone call just doesn't work out, invariably they want to, quote, show me something. Let me show you something, because I do technical work, right? I'm doing CRM. So they want to open up their CRM account and they want to show me things and they want to, talk about their issues and show me the problem. And it very quickly goes from a sales call to a consulting call, right? They want me to solve the problem. And that's not what we're there for. We are there to see if we're a good fit to work together and not to solve the problem. And so it becomes, then I have to try to steer this conversation back away from the technical, get them out of that mindset of we're going to, share these very technical things right now and get them back to the big picture and focusing on what we should be focusing on is, are we a good fit to work together? And if I'm not on Zoom, we don't ever even go there because they can't show it to me when we're on the phone. But if we're on Zoom, it becomes really easy to go there. And then that's just another thing that I, as a salesperson, have to combat or work with. So I'd rather just not even have that option available. So we don't even have that, we can't go there.
I totally agree with you, because what Zoom does is it stops you really listening.
Right.
With the problem or the challenge or the desires that the prospect has. And
and there's the other thing that you're hearing all these people on LinkedIn and Facebook, championing Zoom about now for sales calls. All of a sudden, there's this rush to virtual selling. Like, what was wrong with the phone? The phone has worked. How long have we had phones? 1918, 1910? I don't know. We've had phones over 100 years.
Like 1880.
Okay.
I think it was an
You worked at Bell Labs, didn't you? How long have we had phones? But the phone works just fine. And suddenly all these gurus are telling you need to do virtual, Zoom call sales. So here's the second issue then that you started to segue into is that if I'm on a video call with somebody, now there's this whole other sensory area I need to focus on. And that's what I look like. And now I'm having to focus on them, making eye contact. And yes, everybody tells you that, when you do a phone call, you're losing all these parts of the conversation because you lose the body language and you lose the facial expressions and all that. But the flip side to that is if you're on a video call, well, you have to make yourself look good with these facial expressions. They're going to see your lame facial expression just as easily as they're going to see your good one. And you're both distracted then with what you look like and what you're doing, and you're not focusing on the conversation. And to me, I'd rather focus on the words than focus on what they look like or their mannerisms and things like that. And so I can just literally, many times on a sales call, I will close my eyes to take away another sense. I'm taking away my vision so I can just focus on what I'm hearing.
When you're looking at a Zoom call on a computer, there's so many distractions. There's I personally have a second monitor. I know many people do.
Yeah, so do I.
Stuff pops up. I got my phone sitting there. Stuff pops up. All kinds of things can happen that could distract you from them. And you're right. You do got to look. You do have to look nice. But it's not so much.
You have to take a shower, Pat. Come on. I don't want to have to take a shower.
Oh, really? I took a shower for you today.
Well, I won't tell you. Man, I'm in full quarantine look right now. I'm looking good.
Well, Denise appreciates it too. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Janine's telling me I need to. Yeah. I'm going to have to take one when we're done here. Some point today, I need to take a shower. But yeah, I have. There's all these other things you need to focus on. And you're right. I don't even sit at my computer when I'm on a sales call. I typically am up and away from the computer, away from distractions. I want to be in a place where I can focus, and I am easily squirreled out. So I don't want to be in front of a computer, and I don't want to, have to worry about what I look like. And yes, you can practice these things and you can get better at them, but I just like, why? I don't think the benefit outweighs the downfalls, the negatives.
A good example of this is podcasts. Is listening to a podcast. And they understand the value of being able to use that right side of the brain and be able to listen to what's
Mhm.
going on and maybe multitask, maybe taking a walk or driving a car or whatever. Um, so, and the intimacy of a podcast is it's really between your ears versus like a YouTube where you can click away. The
Mhm.
same thing is going on in a sales call. When you're on the phone and you got a headset, I always use a headset or I use my AirPods.
Yep. So
Um,
do I.
when you're pacing and walking and not being distracted by the screen, you're doing a much better job of listening. You're much
Right.
more tuned to what they're saying.
And I
Um,
find I can be much bolder on the phone than I can be on video.
right. There's this old thing that says smile and dial, stand, smile and dial. You should stand
Right.
up. So does everybody got a standing desk to do that? Can you wave your arms around and speak with gusto? Like I'm trying to do it right now
Yeah. I can
because I'm
hear it. I can
because I'm
hear it, right? I can hear the animation in your voice. I don't need to see you to know that you are into our conversation. But I'm just saying I can say things on the phone. The phone gives me some anonymity, right? I can say
yeah,
things on the phone that I could never say if I was looking you in the eye. I can use silence. I can't, if I'm just standing there talking to you or I'm looking at you on video and I go silent, I I find that creepy. But on the phone, it works, right? I can throw out a price and just shut up and just let the silence hang. I can be bolder like that on the phone. If I'm looking at you, if we're making eye contact when I do that, that becomes a lot harder to do. Not saying you can't do it, but it just becomes harder. I find it much easier for me to be a bold, aggressive salesperson behind the wall of the phone.
you've really improved on your selling.
Yes, I
I could.
have.
So Neil, how much is this going to cost?
50,000.
Okay.
Okay.
$50,000. That's a lot.
Hmm.
All right. I guess I'll sign up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can let those numbers hang on the phone, but if I'm looking at you, it becomes that just adds more to it
It
that I
is.
don't want to deal with.
The Zoom call makes it so easy to do selling telling. Let's hop on
Hmm.
and let give the sellers, they'll say, let me give you a demo. Let me give you a PowerPoint. Let me show you stuff.
Hmm.
And it's hubris. It makes assumptions you already got what I need. How do
Hmm.
you do that? You haven't asked me nearly enough questions. You don't know what my issues are, what my problems are. You don't know how much money I got. You don't know what my schedule is like, what other constraints I got going on in my business.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to do all that fact finding, all that questions, and I want to do all that away from solving the problem. And when I'm in their space or I'm on a Zoom call with them, it just makes it, again, I'm not saying you can't do it, but you just need to have much better sales chops to be able to pull that off, I think. And while I'm decent, I am not the top salesperson, right? So any of the obstacles I can take away to make myself more confident and make myself feel more in control on the call, the better. And to me, Zoom puts me like leaning back, right? I'm on my back foot with when I'm on Zoom. And when I'm just on the phone, I feel much more confident.
I was just thinking this the other day that first time I started using video conferencing software was in 2003. I got a copy of glance.net, and it didn't do audio. It only did video. And commonly what we would do is we would, we do a discovery kind of call on the phone, set up an appointment for a sales presentation. I would call them up again and then share them this link. So they would hear me on the phone and they'd watch me go through the slides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is
This-
old school. I've never
that
even
is-
heard of that program.
I think it's still around. And
Is it?
and I think it does audio now. Glance, Glance. They were a startup
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
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 And I could see a Zoom call as part of your sales process.
Yes.
I just don't think it should be the initial point of
Yes.
contact.
I violently agree with you.
All right. Good. What else have I missed? Oh, the other thing I missed too, the other negative is people know how to use a phone, right? What I'm discovering, see, I just take it for granted that everybody knows how to use Zoom, but that's not true. I'm discovering that is not true in this new age we live in. I'm seeing so many people, friends of mine, relatives that are calling me, how do you use Zoom? Because suddenly they've been thrust into this remote situation where they need to use Zoom and they've never used it. And so if you're selling to a group of people that are not technologically savvy, you've also just introduced that whole hurdle into your sales process. They know how to use a phone. I don't want to have to teach them how to use Zoom, and we all struggle to get on Zoom, and then everybody's uncomfortable when we're starting the call, and we're all stressed out because we didn't get the call kicked off on time and all this. It's just a whole nother level. Again, there's another issue.
Yep. The phone is simple. I think we beat this one to death. Use the telephone. Don't be afraid of picking up the telephone.
Right.
You should warm them up first, with email or LinkedIn or something like that. I'm not a strong proponent of calling people out of the blue. But use the phone. Don't be afraid of the telephone. The telephone's your friend. One other thing we didn't talk about, we somewhat talked about that you like to walk. It's healthier for you to walk.
I get my exercise in when I'm doing sales calls.
I pace the entire time.
Yep, so do I.
Yeah, it's much better.
And if I'll do sales calls outside if the weather's nice. If it's not, I usually stand in the window and I look outside, and that just helps me stay focused on the call.
It was cold yesterday, but it was like around 2:00. It was pretty sunny. I did a call outside. It really wasn't too bad, actually. It was fun. It was nice. Spring is coming. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Before we leave, for people who don't know you and have never met you before, what do you do, Neil?
Oh, I thought you were going to point out that I was devilishly handsome. But no, what do I do? I build automated CRM systems for small sales teams. So I help sales teams set up systems to help keep from losing those leads, the leads that fall into the black hole. We set up systems to keep that from happening and to keep communicating with prospects and customers.
Nothing more important than following up.
Yes, there is nothing more. We don't need to explain that to your audience, right? They know that follow-up is key.
Yep. Follow up.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the website? People want to find you?
Website is emailsplat.com. SPLAT, splat. Like Batman.
Awesome. Well, Neil, I hope next time we meet, we can actually maybe meet in person.
Yeah. We need tacos.
We need tacos.
Yep.
We need tacos. It's Taco Tuesday.
It's actually Thursday right now.
This is going to be published on Tuesday.
Oh, but it comes out on a Tuesday, doesn't it? Yes.
Taco Tuesday.
There we go.
All right, Neil, you take care.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
Well, Sales Babbler, I hope you found some value in that. During these troubled times, I know you're probably struggling with selling, probably not doing it the same way that you're used to doing it. And I hope maybe this episode in regards to video, prospecting and whatnot, hope you found some value in that. I can't help but wonder, what's working for you guys? What's not working for you guys? If you could share that, I would really appreciate it. As we mentioned in the episode, this Thursday at 4 o'clock Central, we have a Sales Babble Telebabble. And it's an opportunity for you to ask questions about your selling, get some advice on how maybe you could do things better. It's been really great having people visit every week. And how timely it is, too, because I started this long before this whole lockdown had started. And it was just a perfect timing because a lot of people don't have anybody to talk to. You're not in the office. Here's a chance for you to build partnerships with other sellers in the Sales Babel community. Who knows? Maybe your next job will happen through networking through somebody like this. So we'd love to see you come visit. Last weekend on LinkedIn, I was talking with Chad Twait. He said to me that you've helped me tremendously with your podcast. I really enjoy it. Not sure if I have any advice, but I would sure enjoy more prospecting advice. It's imperative to keep that pipeline full and flowing. And that was all in cap. Full and flowing. Thank you, Chad, for the nice shout out. I really appreciate it. So, folks, if you feel similarly, if you could share this podcast with your friends and colleagues, I would really appreciate it. Use whatever app you have that you're listening to it. Give us a glowing review. It would really help get the word out. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out and connect with us on Sales Babel. That's all I got for this week. Until next week, take care and have a highly successful and profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babel podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.